Good evening, Broncos country. We are live. But before we get started with tonight's conversation, want to let the stream just breathe. Want to make sure we have all of our platforms included for tonight's discussion. All right. I see green check marks across the board. Welcoming everyone to another installment of the Orange and Blue View podcast. I'm your host, Ron White, and you're probably wondering, is it that guy again? It is that guy again, guys. It is my co-host, Mr. Dylan Vaughn Arks. We are reunited, and it really does feel good. Dylan, it's so good to have you back, my guy. How have you been doing?
Doing fantastic, man. Finally got pretty consistent work schedule, so I'm able to be back here doing shows Saturday nights. You'll see me from now on, and I appreciate all the love I was getting. I help out with the morning shows and produce on those and fill in when I can. And when I was filling in, plenty of people expressed that they wanted me back, and I said, you know what, I'm going to work hard to get back here. And now we got OBV with RON and DVA back again, brother. I'm excited.
Yes, yes. Again, it's so great to have you back talking our favorite team, the Broncos. And before we get started in that conversation, we want to see who all is joining us in the chat. We got String Guy coming in. Thank you, String Guy. It's always good to see you. Chad, you changed, man. Yeah, yeah. He sure has, String Guy. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. We got Fox Family Breaks coming in with a super chat. Thank you. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. Says super excited for the game tomorrow as a morning person. Yes, I am the same way, Fox Family. I'm becoming more of a morning person now. I'll put it that way. My routine in the morning has adjusted to where so now I'm waking up early in the mornings. So I think this is good. And it just feels so good. Broncos can play early, get it out of the way, had that dub, hopefully, done. And then by the time that 11 Mountain Time window starts, things will be good. But again, so good to have you in the chat. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. And we got Max Rui coming in. Thank you, Max. He says, Evening Broncos country. It's my birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Max.
Happy
And
birthday,
all
man.
my kids and I want a Broncos win tomorrow morning. 31-9 win. Let's go, Broncos. Yes, Max. I like that score. And I think we all are hoping for that Broncos victory tomorrow. It's so good to see you, my guy. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And we got Mr. Mark coming in. Hello to all. Go Broncos. Hello to you, Mark. Good seeing you in the chat. And the Papa Bear, Mr. David McElrath, coming in. Thank you, David. He says, Good evening, Broncos country. Hashtag sticking with that 11 and 6 plus plus. Yes, David. That is in the realm of the possible. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And got David Yunkin coming in. Broncos went 35-10. Okay. That might be close to what I have, but I'll save that for the end of near the end of the show there, David. Thank you for coming in. And he's coming in with the reunited, and it feels so good. Yes, yes, yes. So looks like the crowd is great to see you back, Dylan.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah, yeah. And so, speaking of some good news, Dylan, so the Broncos have now been given or been actually added with their massive boost with a defender being activated off of injured reserve. So, it's got news today that Malcolm Roach is now being activated off of IR. Now we know he suffered, that injury I think a few weeks ago, but now he is being activated off of IR. And Dylan, I really do think this couldn't come at a better time, given the opponent, which we'll get into here momentarily, but just more so solidifying, that defense, and especially in the run game. So, Malcolm Roach, undrafted free agent, former ex Saint. Um, Kind of has to serve as that primary reserve role behind DJ Jones. And what we know him for is that solid, strong run stopper. So of course he can take off multiple blocks to free up other pass rushers. So I think given the opponent, because we know what the Jets are on the ground, again, we know what the record is, but that rushing attack with Brees Hall and Justin Fields, I think the Broncos are going to need all their horses on that defensive line to definitely contain that run. But thoughts on Malcolm Roach returning into the fold?
It's awesome when you get, more bodies on the defensive line, especially for the Broncos, who have kind of a lighter offensive line in terms of weight. So to get more beef up, especially in that middle, to help stop the run is desperately needed for the Broncos. Not that they've been exactly terrible there, but hey, we'll take any more that we can get, and it's great to have Malcolm Roach back. Just to get a good rotation as well. You don't want guys like Zach Allen getting a million snaps like he did last year. You don't want everyone to wear down too early in the season. So it's a great first step to have him activated now. And I'll just skip to David's super chat here. He asked, "Will Roach play?" And thank you for hopping in, David. Not entirely sure yet. Like him being activated is just the first step. Will he play tomorrow? As soon as tomorrow? Possibly, but I don't think we have any word on whether he will or not. But even if he misses this game, it's a very good sign to see him activated so early when they just opened up his practice window. So hopefully back sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And I do think, yeah, it's again, it's so good to have him back. I think this is definitely a blessing for the team, and who knows? He may play. We'll figure out, or we'll find out, kind of how that looks like tomorrow. Prior to the game when they release the inactives list. But I know per Sean Payton, he said he was good to go. He was good and in shape. So I'm looking forward. Hopefully, if everything looks good, he will play. Maybe on a pitch count. And think about it, he is kind of the backup to Jones there, so it probably will be limited time, if any, that he does play tomorrow. But again, it's just so good to kind of have him back in the fold. So, all right, let's see who else we have in the chat. We got Mr. Phil McLaughlin coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Phil. It's always good to see you. Says, good evening, Ron, and welcome back, Dylan. Yes, gonna miss Powers, but it is next man up. Glad to see Benito getting some NFL recognition. Yeah, so I do think that the Powers injury is definitely the Broncos are going to feel an impact. But to your point here, Phil, it's next man up. So Matt Pert, maybe either with Throckmorton, Palczewski, as the backup. It's the next man up, and hopefully they can kind of come in and somewhat solidify that spot in the absence of Powers. And in regards to Benito, Phil, he's just on an unbelievable pace so far. I mean, leading the leagues with 7 sacks, has the chance to break that all-time record, and he might just do it. And and not only just with kind of the media members, but some of his team, like some of the players in the league. I believe there was something out there, Dylan. I think it was Brian Burns, who was asked about his 5 top pass rushers, and I think he had Nick Benito at number 2. So again, it's just so good to see number 15 kind of getting his flowers, and who knows what's to come? Maybe defensive player of the year. Who knows? But he's definitely on that pace.
Yeah, man. I mean, how crazy would it be to have back-to-back defensive player of the years and have it be 2 different players? I mean, that's absolutely would be incredible. Nick Benito is easily one of the best, if not the best, pass rusher. If we're talking edge defender, yeah, he still has a lot to be desired in the run game, which that's just not his game. But if we're talking specifically pass rush, dude is top 2, if not the best in the NFL for my money. And just to see his growth from year 1 all the way to now, and I was one of the guys saying, hey, maybe we should wait a little bit before we decide to pay this guy. Let's see if he can replicate it. And they paid him, not necessarily early, but they paid him before I would have. And
Mhm.
lo and behold, he's staying on that track, if not being even better than he was last season. So that turned out to be a great decision. Moving over to the power as part of this conversation, we are going to miss him quite a bit, although he hasn't been like the most electric as electric as offensive lineman can be. He hasn't been the greatest guy on this offensive line, but part of that is the guy next to him, I imagine. I mean, we're even seeing Quinn Miners looking pretty human this season. I think it's a lot to do with Luke Wattenberg, but losing a guy like Ben Powers really sucks, especially there's just that cohesiveness in the offensive line. And like you mentioned, it's going to be next man up. So we'll see if Palcho or Throckmorton or whoever, Matt Pert even, can fill that void and just be stable. You don't have to be an all-star, but just be stable until December, I believe, is when we're
Yeah.
expecting him back. So just hoping for some stability. That means Bo Nix, you're probably gonna have to get rid of the ball kind of quick here.
Yeah. And just going back to the Benito front, just think about how good that contract looks. You know, I mean, you see Michael Parsons out here making like 47 million APY, and then you look at Benito's deal and you're like, wow. I mean, the Broncos just, I mean, shout out to Peyton. It was just such a master class, and it was just so good. Because I'm with you. Like, I didn't think that they were gonna do it this early. Like, I was under the impression. My belief was maybe they want to wait, maybe give it like another year, and maybe do it like a little further in the season. Let's say, he was kind of on the pace he is now. Then okay, pull the trigger, go ahead and pay him. But yeah, before the start of the season is kind of genius thinking about how that looks now. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his growth, his development. And I was one of the ones, Dylan, that I didn't even want the Broncos to take Nick Bonito. Because I know he had a lot of flaws in his game, but I mean, you just watch him on tape, just that get off. It's like no other. I mean, it's very Vaughn-esque. And kind of how he's developed, even in the run game. I know he's got a little ways to go there, but I think he's improved in the run game for sure. So, all righty. Let's see who else we have here. Pulling up some more score predictions here from Ernie. Good to see you, Ernie. Broncos country only. Okay, 33-10. I like it. I like it. Tyler Brooks here in the chat. Let's win out clear. Yes. Definitely just want to win outright for sure. All right. And then we got String Guy coming in again. Thank you, String Guy. He says, I see a lot of trade rumors on YouTube for inside linebacker, but nothing at all from the team. If they don't get Greenlaw back soon, certainly they will need to do something. I cannot imagine Singleton all season. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Singleton? Just Singleton's play so far this year. I mean, we could go back to the Eagles game, but just overall, just Singleton's play. Do the Broncos need to look at the inside linebacker group, and if so, how they do it? I think a few weeks ago, Chad and I pulled up some of the free agents that are still out there, and also I know, to String Guy's point, there are a few rumors of some trades possibly for that position.
First of all, it's funny. I filled in Wednesday for the morning show Broncos for Breakfast, and plenty of people talking about Singleton, and I've kind of been pretty firm the past couple of years that I didn't think he was that good of an inside linebacker just because he racked up a bunch of tackles. It's like, hey, where are those tackles occurring? And you're absolute liability in coverage, and you don't expect linebackers to be perfect, right? But geez, put yourself in a position at least to make a play. And Alex Singleton just cannot do that. And you just think coming into the season that your linebacker room is resting on, hey, is often injured Greenlaw and Singleton coming off an Achilles, and you're going to go into the season with that. And that's why I had them ranked at like a D minus or an F. I can't remember. It was either way pretty damn low. Because no, even if Greenlaw's healthy, how long is he going to stay healthy? In which still haven't seen him play a snap yet. And then with Singleton, I didn't like him before the injury, and then after it, it's like this dude's he's older, coming off an Achilles, and now he's missing tackles. That's supposed to be like his specialty. So absolutely, just you need to pull him at some point, I think, because I don't see how you could get worse. Give a young guy a shot. But in terms of trading for one, there's a pretty obvious connection there with Demario Davis from the Saints, someone whose talent is being wasted on that team, and he's gone unrecognized. He's a very good player and would do wonders for this defense and make it more of a strength in the middle than a liability. And got like, oh geez, let's see how they're going to force a matchup on Sternad or Singleton, which Sternad honestly has been pretty solid. Nothing amazing, but he's improved from last year for sure.
Yeah, you know, Singleton's such a liability. Yeah, I mean, kudos to him. Racks up, a lot of tackles in the season. Good. But like you said, he's even starting to miss some of those now. But just in coverage, it has just been abysmal. And there have been almost all these games, Dylan, this year so far where you're like, Singleton, like, what are you doing? And so I really do think that the Broncos need to look at bringing in another player at inside linebacker. Again, some of the free agents out here, the free agent list isn't anything pretty. I mean, we did bring out a few names. I'm a big fan of Eric Kendricks. I thought like that would be a good fit. And obviously with the George Payton Minnesota Vikings connection, that could happen. You brought up Demario Davis as well, who, at age 36 is playing at a very elite level. So I would love to, have the Broncos, kick the tires on one of those guys. But, even with Greenlaw coming back, you just can't have, subpar play from his sidekick. So yeah, I'm with you, String Guy, that they should do something at this position, because also, Dylan, you're seeing that opposing offenses, that's what they're targeting for the Broncos. They're targeting the weak inside linebacker group. So I do think that is something they definitely need to prioritize, kind of looking at. But I think all this, Dylan, next year's draft, they need to draft an inside linebacker. They need to draft one, just like they need to draft a tackle. It's time to draft offensive linemen high, and also look at the inside linebacker group, just because you need to draft develop, because it's been an issue, especially at that ILB group for a number of years now.
Absolutely. And just one more thing I want to add to the Singleton bit. When you have a team captain, someone that was voted a team captain, and he comes out with a quote, and I believe it was DNVR who had the quote when it's the Chargers week, saying, "Oh, is this a really do or die game? Is this really going to kill us? It's a divisional game, there, captain. That's bum behavior. That's loser behavior, and you're disgracing your teammates who voted you to be this team captain. You're coming in with some BS like that. Like, miss me with that. You're playing terrible and you're saying stuff like that. I don't want you on my team. That's the bottom line for me."
Yeah, that was just not a good look. I know that comment. I'm like, dude, what do you think? Why would you say that? So yeah, again, I really just hope that they can address that, make some sort of move prior to the trade deadline. Or again, like I said, Eric Kendricks is, still out there. So, but thank you, String Guy. Great comment there. We got Phil coming back in. Thank you, Phil. Says based on their play now, we save millions on Sutton and Benito. Great management. I agree 100%, Phil. Excellent, excellent management from the Paytons. Like it was just so good to get. And I know Sutton and Benito, they weren't, really looking to get the Jamar Chases and the Michael Parsons figures anyway. But kind of when they did these contracts, you just have to tip your hat off. So yeah, we saved millions, and even going into next season when you get the Russ cap officially like be done with that, the Broncos are set up in great shape.
Absolutely, and it is great. We did save millions, especially with Sutton. Obviously, he's a little older, but he's the top dog on this offense. Uh, I would love for another guy to step up. We can't just be Sutton all the time. We saw a flash from Troy Franklin there, and then he kind of regressed back to what we've seen before with some dropsies here and there. But he is looking marginally better thus far. But we need someone to step up on the offensive side of the ball besides Sutton. And as for Benito as well, like we talked about him plenty already, but dude is an absolute killer off the edge. His first step, so explosive, and he's a drive killer. That's what he does, and that's why this defense can churn like it does, and the coverage can hold up in that secondary that's so good, despite what people say about Riley Moss. It's a very good secondary. Um, but yeah, it was great to get these guys locked up early, and that's kind of been more the MO of this front office staff, and you love to see that and rewarding the guys who have put in that work for that franchise, and it really sets an example for anyone else who's looking to get paid in Denver.
Yeah, the Riley Moss hate. I don't know. Broncos country, it baffles me sometimes, Dylan. And I mean, I get it. T Higgins is a tough cover. But I would say this past matchup,
Much
outside of a few plays here or there, he held his own.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to also look at, I mean, he's gonna be targeted. They're gonna target him because no one's throwing at the defensive player of the year side. They're just not gonna do
Yeah.
it.
No.
So either way, it's we'll see what happens. But yeah, I again, Phil, great point on what the front office has done, and exactly the timing, when they did these extensions. All righty, let's see. I saw a comment. David Youngkin, I see Broncos are bringing in another wide receiver for a tryout. Yes. So, former Arkansas and former Tennessee Titan wide receiver Traylon Burks, the Broncos will be hosting a tryout for next week. And he's been heavily injured. But coming out of Arkansas, Dylan, he was pretty good. I mean, just a big body receiver, and Sean Payton likes those big body receivers. Um, and kind of similar to, I kind of put him in that mold of AJ Brown, Cortland Sutton, where he can kind of just get jump balls. That's kind of more his thing. Um, but yeah, bring him in. I'm curious to see how it all shakes out. And if he can maybe, they sign him maybe to the practice squad or something and see what happens. But it doesn't hurt to just bring him in, host him, maybe potentially be another weapon for both.
You're exactly right. And like I just mentioned, this offense needs someone to step up, and clearly the Broncos are looking outside of their roster to see, hey, maybe there's some potential here with the former first-round pick who, funny enough, you mentioned A.J. Brown, was drafted to replace A.J. Brown in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So very cool to see him come in. I'm not expecting a whole lot, but if he joins the team, I'll be pulling for him. And, it's another body in that room for this Sean Payton in the offense to kind of groom to hopefully maybe become something more and maybe see out even half the potential he had coming out as a prospect out of Arkansas. So we'll see where it leads. I'm not expecting too much, like I just said, but hey, if it's you don't lose anything bringing the guy in.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. All righty. Let's see here. We got David Youngkin coming in with a super chat. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. He says, with teams targeting Moss, all that will do is be hoping he gets better. Yeah, again, and I think Moss is aware of that. It's that they're targeting him. He knows that, and you know, as a result, he's hoping to get better against some of these tough covers. And again, I think he has. I really do think he has already. Again, the Higgins matchup, outside of a few plays, he held his own. Um, and even times when they get him, Dylan, he's still in the right place at the right time. It's just that receiver just made it was a better, throw and catch. But yeah, I agree. I do think, with time, he's definitely going to improve and get better. And again, you're already seeing it, but I know he wants even better for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just it. If his arms were an inch or two longer, I think he'd be making a lot more plays on the ball. Unfortunately, that's just not what life had in store for him. But he is in position pretty much most of the time, I would say. And he's made some plays on the ball as well. He's had some pass breakups. And like you mentioned before, you got the freaking reigning defensive player of the year you're playing opposite to. You're going to see a high volume of passes thrown your way. That's just how it is. That's how it's going to be. And in terms of the sample size and how much he's been thrown at, he's done an outstanding job. Have there been plays he's given up? Absolutely. That comes with the volatility of playing cornerback in the NFL. That's just how it works, unfortunately. And not everyone can be PS2. That's just how it is. And Riley Moss certainly is not him, but he's still a damn good player and a damn good corner for this secondary that's been playing pretty solid these past few weeks.
Yep. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Youngkin, for coming in. We appreciate it. All right. So let's switch to this Jets matchup, Dylan. So just at a high level, kind of give me some of your keys to victory for the Broncos.
Yeah, so a big one is going to be getting pressure on quarterback Justin Fields, who has been god awful against the blitz this year. So I expect to see a lot of Jaquan McMillan and Hufanga maybe playing down lower in the box and getting off some of these blitzes and middle linebackers as well, because Justin Fields has been absolutely terrible. Like in general, like you see, he's got a couple touchdowns every game. It's like, yeah, that's because they're playing from 20 points behind. So this defense can really squeeze and put pressure on him by blitzing, and we know Vance Joseph loves to do that anyway. And I did have a bold prediction. I won't give away my score just yet, but my bold prediction was that this team is going to get 6 or more sacks tomorrow. I fully believe that's achievable. Now, that is a bold prediction. I'm saying that's not saying that's 100% going to happen, but I do see a world in where it does, just with how long Justin Fields holds on to that football. So first and foremost, defensive pressure, and I think that's very achievable with how the Broncos play defense.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Um, I'm gonna kind of be a little bit Captain Obvious. Well, I have a few of them, but Dylan, this team has to be more disciplined. And I know it's the Jets. I know it's the Jets. But these penalties, they have to get cleaned up. If Sean Payton, and the team, if they really want to get to their ultimate destination, you can't have the pre-snaps, the false starts. Now, again, you're going to get some of those PIs and things like that. That comes with game flow, but it's the pre-snap ones that are just frustrating. Even on defense sometimes lining offside. I think was it the Chargers game where Nick Bodito was offside, and I think it was like the fourth down. Yep, and then it extended the drive for the Chargers. It's just things like that. They have to get the penalties cleaned up. And then also for me, this is a time for the Broncos to even, well, first of all, to maybe even get that rush ranking higher. Broncos are the fourth ranked rushing team in the NFL. So this is a perfect opportunity. Yep, obviously you want to use Dobbins, but Dylan, this probably is even a time for Harvey to even showcase Harvey more, showcase Tyler Bidet more. And I think this goes to Phil's question here. Guys, based on the Jets D, will we run or pass more? Well, according to the stats here, the Jets as a rushing defense, they are, I think, in the 20s.
They're giving up about 140 a game
Yep,
on the ground.
on the ground. So I think again, to what I just said, it's this should be a perfect game for, though that three-headed monster at running back. Well, mostly two-headed with Dobbins and Harvey, but maybe sprinkling a little bit there as well. Um, can shine. And there'll be the passing opportunities for sure. I mean, no one, again, they're a little bit better against the pass, but I think Sauce Gardner has digressed a little bit. And there's no one on the Jets defense on that back end that scares me as much. Now, of course, their front is quite dominant. So again, Bo Nix just has to kind of get the ball out quick and evade the rush. But I do think this is a game for the rush, the run offense to shine.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what got the Broncos the victory against the Eagles. They stuck with the run even when they were down multiple scores. And guess what? They won the freaking game. You tire defenses out. And you can do that against this Jets defense, which has a lot of really great pieces on it. And who I thought was a very good defensive coordinator when he was with the Lions, and Aaron Glenn, their head coach. But they have just not gotten it together this season. It's really odd. And even some of their stars, like you mentioned, they have like Quinn Williams. He's usually a pretty phenomenal player, and he's been playing pretty weak this season. So the Broncos should take advantage of this rushing attack. And now, albeit it might be a little tougher without Ben Powers in there, but you're still going to get your opportunities. And the Broncos need to exploit that because, like I mentioned just a minute ago, they're giving up around 140 yards on the ground a game. And with the Broncos being the fourth best rushing offense, yeah, you better take advantage of that. And I think,
yeah, for sure. And then another key for me, and I think this goes into to your point is, just make Justin Fields one dimensional. You got to contain the edge. And actually, Dylan, I'm not saying the same defensive game plan, but a similar game plan that you use with Jalen Hurts is probably the way to go here. Because as you saw in that second half, that Broncos defense, they tightened up, especially on the edges. They were not trying to let Jalen Hurts escape. And they bottled that up. In addition to that, bottled Saquon Barkley up, forcing them to just throw the football. And obviously, with the rush coming, it was a little bit hard for Jalen Hurts to do that. And again, I think a similar type game plan of making Justin Fields one-dimensional is definitely an important key to victory.
absolutely.
Yeah. Great question, Phil. Thank you for coming in with that. Let's see who else we have here. William Hadalano coming in. Some turnovers from the D would be nice too. Yes. You were kind of hoping, kind of how this defense was constructed, that they'll even have more turnovers than what they have. But yeah, some turnovers, William, would be lovely. Some forced fumbles, sack fumble, maybe a pick from Moss or Sertan. Would definitely be nice for sure.
With how good this defense has been outside of probably the Colts game, they just haven't been getting those takeaways. I'm not sure what it is. I believe they only have 4 on the season in total, or 5 weeks in, now about to be 6. Like, I mean, Geez, you have too many playmakers. I don't think there's any really good excuse to not have more turnovers. I mean, like you said, they're not going to really target Surtain, so their onus is really on Jaquan McMillan, who's been a takeaway fiend the past couple seasons. So maybe we see more of an uptick there. And Riley, like I said, maybe if his arms were a little longer, he'd be catching a couple more interceptions instead of just tipping passes away. But that's something that does need to change. And the defense has given the offense plenty of chances, but not necessarily getting those turnovers, those instant game changers instead of, we got him, we got him off the field or held him to a field goal or whatever. It's like, no, let's get him off the field right now and put our offense in a better position to score.
Yep. Yep. And again, it's good having them go 3 and out. Cool. Okay, the sacks are nice as well, but pitting them back even with Crawshaw's leg, it's great. It's been great to see. But yeah, I want that. I want the ball instantly in our hands. I need a takeaway where we can just say, hey, the ball is ours. And even, in plus territory where we in scoring position. So again, that separates this defense from the 2015 defense, because we know that defense was elite in all categories, predominantly the one being the takeaway category. All righty. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Phil coming back in. Some good questions tonight, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Says, what's more likely, 300 passing yards or 220 rushing? I'll probably say 300 passing. Again, I do think, Dobbins has the chance to go over 100, again this game. Or, the Broncos in totality can go over 100 for sure. But I think, with these weapons, Sutton, now you saw a sighting from Evan Ingram last week, which was good. And Franklin, who has been a little up and down, but he's still been pretty good. I think through the air, I think the 300 passing yards are a little more like it. And Phil, I'm more so thinking of the reason why I'm saying 300 passing yards, because I see kind of the same makeup, if you will, like the Bengals game, where you still had Dobbins rush for over 100, but then Knicks was 326 yards through the air. So, yep, I see more likely the 300 passing. What about you, Dylan?
More likely, probably the passing yards. What I want to happen is that 220 rushing yards. I kind of want to speak that into existence, man. I want to see that run game continue to be dominant. I mean, I wasn't super high on J.K. Dobbins, especially being a late addition to this team, but he's looked pretty good for the most part for the Broncos, and then Harvey sprinkled in there as well. I mean, you see the explosive playmaking ability, and I want them to lean more into that. Not that I don't want them to have Bo Nix, throwing all around and whatnot, but let's make sure we have that run game. So when we play those defenses in the playoffs, that's why the Broncos got booted. I mean, obviously the Bills had been there, done that before in terms of playoffs, but you didn't have a run game. You became one-dimensional, and they said, let's let the rookie throw. We'll let him beat us with his arm, and that it just didn't happen. So likely 300 passing yards, absolutely, I could see that happening, but really pushing for the rushing yards there. I'm a big fan of the run game.
Yeah, just think about it, 220 rushing yards, man. That'll be amazing. But yeah, good question, Phil. Wanted to make you think. But yeah, thank you for coming in. And we got Mr. Yunkin coming back in. Says, Dylan, hope our defense doesn't play down to our opponent.
Yeah, I hope so too, because this is too good of a unit. This is too good of a collection of players, minus the inside linebacker position, to be giving up too many scores a game. But I believe they're only allowing 16 points. I think 8 points a game, something pretty low. So that's really good. But it's that yardage. It's like, let's get guys off the field. They're, similar to the Fangio years where it's like a bend, don't break type of defense. Like, you can get to the red zone, but you're not getting into the end zone. And that kind of goes back to turnovers as well. It's like, hey, let's get these guys off the field. Like, they're going to get a ton of yardage. They're not going to score. It's like, yeah, but you're kind of killing the clock, and your offense isn't exactly ticking and being consistent, especially out the gate, which is probably another key we should talk about, is those slow starts. You have to get off to a fast start because this offense, whether it's Bo Nix being unsettled or play calling or what have you, got to get off to a fast start, and your defense has to put you in positions to play well. And then they've clearly done that. They've kept the Broncos in every game this season. It's just, I'm more so worried about the offense, but I don't think the Broncos will play down to their opponent this week on defense at all.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I get what you're saying, David. Because there are sometimes, you know, you look at how Vance Joseph does scheme things up. Like sometimes he doesn't blitz heavy until a little later on. So you do see some of those things, but I think overall the defense has been solid. It's been great. Minus that Indianapolis Colts game. But yeah, it's been good. And I think kind of what you said, Dylan, more on the offense. And I do think now Sean knows run the football, run it. It helps. Like I remember, I think it was the Titans game where I think he came out throwing the ball like 10, 11 times. I think I saw maybe just one or two runs. I'm like, you're not helping the team out like that. You're not helping Bo out like that. So I do think now that they found something in J.K. Dobbins, who has been a very good signing for the Broncos. Relying heavy on his feet, with a mix of or sprinkle of Harvey in. I do think that's been a tremendous help for this Broncos team. But yeah, David, I hope they don't. I just hope they don't play down to the Jets, and I don't think they will. They should be able to get off for a fast start. At least you would hope. At least you would hope. But thank you for coming in. We appreciate that. Let's see who else we have here. Yep. So William has it. I also noticed he doesn't really blitz until set. Yep. So second half sometimes he saves it. Yep. Yep. So yeah, I picked up on that as well, William. And I think with the adjustments, you'll see that blitz heavy scheme come out a little later on in the game. You definitely saw it in the Eagles for sure. So
yeah, and that made sense just because it's not that Jalen Hurts is a terrible thrower of the football, but he's not as good as he should be, especially with the weapons that he has there. So it was similar to what they were doing with Bo Nix. It's like, hey, we're just going to stack the box and go ahead and throw. We don't care. We don't think you can beat us. And the Broncos eventually did that with Jalen Hurts in that game and should follow a similar blueprint against Justin Fields because also not a very refined passer, not the best. Stack that box. Don't let Breece Hall don't give him any room to breathe. And obviously you're going to worry about Justin Fields' legs as well. But if you can contain those, I'm really not scared of this passing game whatsoever. I believe through the couple matchups that PS2 has had with Garrett Wilson, he's only had a handful of catches for 34 yards. So I'm not too worried about it. And I'm a big fan of Garrett Wilson, but not when it comes to lining up against the GOAT.
Yeah. Again, the Jets offense, it's just it doesn't put fear in anyone's eye. I mean, so you have Garrett Wilson, but Josh Reynolds is there too, correct? If I'm not mistaken,
I believe
think he's
so.
on there. Mason Taylor. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned. It's just you just have to force again Fields to be one dimensional. But thank you, William, for that comment. And then we got Mr. Todd Ostendorf coming in. Thank you, Todd. Good to see you. It says, honestly, the Broncos should forget about beating the Eagles. They have to play even better against the Jets. If they think they can win by 30 points, then prove it. Yeah, Todd, and I believe they've already done that. They've forgotten, about beating the Eagles. I mean, they've mentioned it today. in some of the in some of the interviews, like Evan Ingram was like, "We can't, it was good that we won, but we can't, think about that more. Now it's the Jets, and it's still still a professional team. So they have to go in with that mindset of we are the better team and try to get out to a fast start. I mean, with the Jets, you should be able to, run up the scoreboard quite easily against this team. And I hope they do that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and just we were talking about not playing down to your opponent's level. The offense absolutely needs to come out swinging. I want to see a touchdown on the first drive.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm greedy. Is that so much to ask? I mean, I know Bo Nix is still very young in his NFL career. He's 26 like me, but he's a little older. He should know better in certain aspects of the game, right? And I don't want to see you unsettled, man. I don't want to see you chopping your feet around. Plant and throw. And obviously, this was talked about a lot in terms of arm strength and whatnot. And it was always, for me, it was about velocity. We know he can throw it far. It's, can you throw 30 yards on a freaking rope and get it there? And we've seen him do it from time to time, but he can't do it necessarily consistently. But especially if he doesn't have a good base, if he's moving his feet around for no reason, trying to make trick shots like it's a Call of Duty montage from back in the day, like I just need to see more consistency from him and prove that he is the franchise quarterback. I know a lot of people want him to be that or already think he is. I'm a little more tough customer. I need to see more from him. And obviously the supporting cast in terms of pass catchers isn't the greatest, but he's got some guys there. But this is a team that you should not only beat, and this was the same case with the Bengals. I'm like, I don't care if you win. I need it to be convincing. It needs to be a very convincing, leave no doubt. This game should be put away quickly on both sides of the ball, but especially offense. We need to see something because, I mean, just looking at the Eagles, after we beat them, I was talking to my friends about it, and I was like, it would not shock me if we look back at the end of the season and we're like, man, the Eagles actually really aren't that good of a team. Which, not trying to diminish the win, right? But just looking at it objectively. I mean, you got a divisional game Thursday night. Granted, they got squashed by the Giants, who have a rookie quarterback and has been notoriously bad on the offensive line as well. So there's no excuses in this Jets game to not get out to a lead early and win in dominant fashion.
I agree. You get consistency from Bo, like I said, especially on the footwork. And you've seen the footwork get a little better since week one, because week one, he was in that Tennessee game, he was just jumping in the pocket. He were not set at all, just off target throws. But you've seen it got a little better, but you want it to be consistent, because then let's be honest, those passes in the Colts and the Chargers game, if he had hit some of
The
those,
Bover throws.
yes,
Yeah.
if he set his feet and hit some of those, Broncos would be 5-0. So it's just those little things. And also, you mentioned, scoring on the first drive on offense for the Broncos. How about the Broncos defense not give up a score on the first drive? And I think this goes to Phil's point here. Wouldn't it be nice to see 4 quarters of solid football by our O and D here, especially, and score 30 plus? Yes. So Phil, solid across the board. Again, with this Jets opponent, I want to see, if they get the ball first, I want to see 3 and out quickly. Broncos get the ball, go drive right down the field. It needs to just be solid complementary football. And again, once you get up 14-0, just keep stacking up the scoreboard. That's how I want this Broncos team to perform.
Exactly. I mean, shoot, I don't think we've even gotten a full half of great Broncos football play this year, and it's really unfortunate. You get they'll score in the first quarter, and then they're silent for the second, third quarter, and they're like, okay, fine, we'll play some football in the fourth quarter, give you guys a heart attack to try and come back and win the game, and that's obviously stressful for us fans, but I mean, just as an offense, it's not something you want to see. Fourth quarter comeback wins are nice, but you'd like to see them in a game, especially like this. Maybe this game's put away by halftime.
Yeah.
Maybe it's convincing. I like, hey, this game's basically over. We can kind of try some stuff out, or just play with a little more not lax necessarily, but like more comfortability in that second half. If you already put
Mhm.
the game away, and it starts with quarterback play, it starts with the running game. We'll see how the offensive line looks. Sans Ben Powers, and just go out there and prove that the offseason hype was at least half true. Let's make sure we can build off that, and we didn't get too high on our own supply, or at least the media did, about just how good this Broncos team would be. And let's be real, this division is within reach, despite that
Mhm.
loss to the Chargers. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest what if seasons for the Chargers, because if they have at least Joe Alt still in there, they're probably still looking pretty good. But you lose your top two running backs, both your tackles are out, one indefinitely. This is the time to take this division. The Chiefs look terrible. They look inconsistent. They're the ones playing down to talent like we've been accustomed to. So go out there and stomp the Jets. And just, we don't care about last week defending Super Bowl champs. I don't care. It's week to week, baby. You got to win week to week.
Yep. Yep. Cannot um be sleeping on any of these opponents. Again, these are teams with good players, and the Broncos really have to go out there and execute. All right, guys, we are coming up on an hour, so I'll give you here like 2-minute warning. Just see if you had any other questions, comments, bring it in the chat. But while we wait on you guys, if you guys have any other things, we want to now switch to our predictions. So, Dylan, who do you have winning this matchup, and what is your score?
So I'm picking the Broncos to win this one. I mean, you've heard me talking all podcasts how passionate I am, and how I just want them to just stomp the hell out of this Jets team. Because they have the ability to do it. And my prediction is Broncos winning 30, beating the Jets, who only score 2 field goals. So Broncos 30, Jets 6. I want it to be a dominant win, and I'm trying to will that into existence with my prediction. I don't want to see any touchdowns. I mean, it's likely the Jets will probably get a score, but hey, I think this defense can go out and dominate, and not shut them out, but blow out the Jets, because I think they could probably get a couple field goals. But I just want to see dominant effort in every phase of the game, offense, defense, special teams, just tear them apart.
Yeah. Again, the Broncos should win this game quite handedly. Um, other than running the football, the Jets just, you know, they don't do anything well. I mean, their record says who they are. Um, a winless team, and I expect that to continue. The Broncos need to execute well. Again, like I said, cut off these penalties. Get off to a nice hot start. Should be a balanced offense. Um, again, using Dobbins and Harvey, and getting your pass catchers involved. Um, so with that, I do have the Broncos winning 31-10. I do think they'll give up a touchdown to the Jets, but um, again, the Broncos should definitely win this game quite easily. All righty, guys. Gonna do one more quick glance to see if I've missed anything. Questions you have? I see they're talking about some food here.
Later in the
So,
game.
I know, right? So, yep, got a few more score predictions here. Yep, Phil has the same one that I have. Okay, Phil, great minds think alike there. Um, and then Todd with his prediction as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. And then David, have a great winnable Sunday, guys. Yes, yes, we'll do. Well, you guys, again, thank you all for tuning in for tonight's episode. It's good to have my partner in crime back. And it's good for all of you guys to join us. We always appreciate your comments, your questions, all the support. If you have not done so already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. And if you have not done so, make sure you follow us on X. I am at Ron White NFL, and my partner here is at Dylan Von Arks MHH. Before we get out of here, I'll turn over to Dylan to do a few shout outs before we log off.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping in tonight and showing some love. Just so happy to be back and see all the familiar faces here in the chat, or well, familiar profile pictures anyway, in the chat. Always good to see y'all. And we want to give some extra love to those who donated and gave us a little extra love tonight. Fox Family Breaks coming in. Phil McLaughlin coming in not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 total times. Thank you, Phil. As always, good to see you, my man. And David Yonkin hopping in 2 separate times. We really appreciate you guys, and we wouldn't be able to do this without you. And just love to see the all the love that I'm getting. Obviously, we love Ron as well, but I got a lot of love tonight, and I really appreciate that. And for the time I was away, and you guys were advocating for me to come back, it does mean so much.
Yes, yes. And before we get out of here, food question. I know a lot about chicken and waffles, Todd. Actually, I just had some. What was that, about a week ago? Um, yeah. So I eat them a lot. Try not to do too much fried food nowadays, but every now and again I'll dip it. I actually like the flavored waffles. Um, but yeah, yeah, good dish there. Alrighty, guys. Well, again, thank you all for tuning in. Um, Again, we greatly appreciate it and enjoy the game tomorrow. Obviously, everyone is rooting for a Broncos victory, and we will see you all next week. Have a great rest of your evening. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.